Okay, good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo, first year Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. Tainus Yud Zayin B'Tamas Nitzke. Yud Zayin Tamas was yesterday on Shabbos, so today Yerushalyim is our fast. And we're hoping that through the next 3 weeks, these days should be turned into days of joy and gladness. Okay, we're learning Pirkei Avos here, our first year in Tsama Nafshi, Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. The Maimer of Shmuel HaKatan in the first, actually the fourth parak. Shmuel HaKatan Oimer, B'noifel Yivecha al Tismach, with the downfall of your enemy you shall not rejoice. And with his stumbling you shall be glad in your heart. Why? Pen, here Hashem v'ra beinav v'hashim alav apod. Because perhaps Hashem, it will be seen by Hashem, and it will be Shalom there in his eyes, your joy and gladness, and it's going to be turned around upon you. You see right now in the Rebbeinu Yonah, that's the top citation in the page 2. That's Perush Rebbeinu Yonah, Pirkei Avos Perek Darod, this Maimer of Shmuel and others. Yeah, who would like to begin for us today?
Oh, I'm sorry, turn the page.
Right.
Okay. Shmuel HaKatan Omer, B'nafol, Oivayich, Oivecha. Shmuel HaKatan said, with the downfall of your enemy, Al Tismach, do not be happy. V'chashlu Al Yigal Levad, Libcha. And in his downfall, do not be
stumbling.
You're stumbling. Do not be joyous in your heart. Uma ba lehashminu, and what comes hashminu,
to teach us. What is Shmuel HaKatan coming to teach us?
To teach us Shmuel HaKatan bezeh, with this. The hello, and is it not pasuk, a pasuk, shalem, complete pasuk?
I mean, it's already been written clearly previously, as we'll see in a moment.
It is.
Shlomo HaMelech.
Shlomo. This is Shlomo.
Omer, right? Shlomo Omer, and Shlomo HaMelech said this. Meaning, this is a pasuk from Mishaleh.
Shlomo Amru said.
He's saying, what's he coming to teach us? This is a open verse, and it was already said by Shlomo. Shlomo Melech said he wrote it in Mishaleh.
Ella, rather, Rahman Litzlan.
Ratzalom, here. That's also sometimes Reish Lam, it can be Rahman Litzlan, but Reish Lam, it also means Ratzalom.
He wanted to say, or needs to say, Shehaya, that it is Ragil, regular, Shmuel, Lomar, for Shmuel to say, pasuk to say, this pasuk.
Right. Try when you're reading. This is try to improve your readings. Try to read in phrases. Like go read as many words as you could until you run out of a single thought. Meaning, if you see that the words are stringing along the thought that you recognize or you perceive. Right, so keep reading until you run out, and then you go back out, and then you can translate.
Okay. Mipnei shehu davar hatzarich livnei adam nichshalim bo. Because it is a matter of necessity for people, Nichshalim, I don't know what Nichshalim.
They stumble, from the same word, from the same word you read, in his stumbling, like that's like a past tense or a present. Right. And that people are Nichshalim, people are stumbling in this.
So it's the regular nature of people to stumble.
Right. Well, I mean, since he perceived that this was something that people were obviously falling in to this pitfall, so he was constantly saying this to try to save them from something which is very common.
This is what Shmuel we're talking about.
Yeah, Shmuel Katan.
Shmuel Katan.
That's right. Because that's why he's simply repeating the pasuk in Mishlei, and that's one of the things we discussed. Why should Shmuel Katan get any recognition for something which has been previously written by Shlomo Melech?
Right.
And he's being recognized in Pirkei Avos as having said this, even though we know that it's a verse written clearly in Mishlei. So why does he receive the recognition over this? What's unique about what he's doing and saying over here? So the first point is that it was routine to say this. And the second thing is, why was he routine to say this? Because people were, in fact, failing in fulfilling this command. They were obviously getting very happy about people getting...
Right, you see that today too?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
You don't see it?
I know the ball games, if the Giants win the World Series, so everyone's happy and everyone is,
Remind me, I remember, I don't go to ball games very often. I went to one about 20 years ago, it's probably the last one I went to, and there was a guy like 2 rows away from me who kept saying, every time somebody would end up at the base that we were near, he would say, so-and-so, you're a bum. He knew all the names, He'd say, Smith, you're a bum! And then, 10 minutes later, Jones is on there, Jones, you're a bum! Just what we're saying.
What's going on with that guy? What's driving that guy? Was it jealousy, or what's going on? What's driving such a guy?
Yeah. Kigam bi'os ha'oyev rasha ein lishmoach bera'aso. Additionally, it is that your enemy, or I guess not additionally, but in the case where your enemy is a Rasha, do not be happy.
Right.
In seeing.
No, in his also in his bad tidings, right? But also that was bad that happened to him. And even like even when the enemy is a Russia, meaning certainly if the enemy is not a Russia, we have to understand, as we're going to get into this further and further, we have to understand what's this whole concept that people are happy over other people's downfall and mistakes and troubles. Right? But even if it's going to be that the enemy of yours happens to be a Russia, don't be happy over his ill tidings.
So now Russia is a very strong word.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Russia, the basic definition, a basic definition of Russia we can do is this: someone who's fulfilling the Ratzon of HaKodesh Baruch Hu.
Someone who is
filling the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Who's not
fulfilling the will.
Right. Who's not filling the rest of the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu.
Okay. So is that the same as an evil person, or is that a next step?
Well, again, like evil.
Like a murderer, or somebody who's
that's certainly not fulfilling the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? Some people can be saying lashon hara, right, and that kills people also, right? And this person could be taking guns in Hashem and killing people, right? Other people can be spreading apikourses and they're killing people that way also,
right?
Other people can be Mukal Shabbos, and that's doing something bad to them. We're already calling Israel Raving Zelazeh. We're all associates. We're all responsible for one for the other. So when one person does something wrong, the Prophet Chaim explains this in Berlacha. He explains this that when one person another Jew does something wrong, it's our responsibility to make sure he stops from doing that and to try and correct him, because if he has a mitzvah to fulfill and he doesn't fulfill it, his mitzvah is really considered to be our mitzvah. So when he's not fulfilling the mitzvah or he's doing an avera, so we're also implicated in not doing that mitzvah or in doing that avera as well. Because we're all related. We're all functioning in ways we can't see. We don't know the interactions and the interconnections that the HaKodesh Baruch has for us all in many different ways. But we're all, Klal Yisrael is a unit, right? So just like you have in armed forces, you have different units, and if one unit's not going to fulfill its mission, so the whole plan, the whole strategy could fall, right? You have the Air Force, you have the Marines, and so if you want to, for example, just in recent history, we had the Normandy invasion. Right? So you had to transport all the troops from England to the French shore, right? And not only that, so you needed the Navy to do that, right? But you need to get the soldiers from the army onto the French shore, so they're not going to swim over there. So you need the Navy to carry them over there.
Right.
When they got there, they had to have as least resistance from the Nazis as much as possible. So you need the Air Force to make airstrikes before the actual invasion began to try and neutralize the Nazi resistance. Right? So you needed the Air Force to do that, to make bombings. They also needed the Air Force to drop paratroopers, right? So if any of these units and components of the strategy failed, right, that could lead us to the general failure of the whole plan, right? So Klal Yisrael Lahavdil in the same very similar. We don't realize, we don't know, we don't see, right? But HaKodesh Baruch Hu looks at Klal Yisrael as a whole. Right? So this person, we're all responsible for doing mitzvahs, right? And that's what Hashem wants us for. That's what we're put in this world for doing mitzvahs. So when one Jew is doing his mitzvahs, we're all functioning properly. When one Jew is not doing his mitzvahs, so we're all misfunctioning, right? So that's why we're all considered to be Arabim Zelazim. We all have to help and support each other, right? So when someone's a Russia, he's not doing the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? He's not fulfilling the plan that the HaKodesh Baruch Hu has for him, right, in this world, and has for him to play his part in Klal Yisrael. So evil doesn't do much for me. I always like to say he's detrimental, right? He's detrimental. He's detrimental to himself. He's detrimental to other people. He's detrimental to Klal Yisrael. He's doing things which are detrimental for the whole process that the HaKodesh wants to occur in this world, right? Mm-hmm. Right? It's just like,
I'm just trying to make a distinction between somebody who is just off the derech. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was raised in a non-religious household, right, but he's basically a good person. Mm-hmm. He's not doing anything overtly bad.
Right.
He's doing something that is bad because it's not doing the mitzvahs and so on and so forth.
Right.
But I'm just trying to see if there's a distinction between that person and somebody who is doing something that is overtly bad, like I gave an example of murder or a thief or
right.
somebody like that.
Look, the Rambam says we can't evaluate these things. Only HaKodesh Baruch Hu knows how to evaluate these. HaKodesh Baruch Hu understands and knows all the different connections and obligations and requirements of each individual person. So we really can't.
So we treat them the same. Those two people we treat basically the same in this respect.
In this respect,
we don't want to be joyous over their down.
You have a professor that's teaching, a Jewish man. He's teaching HaKodesh, teaching philosophy, which is he may not have ever learned the truth about anything, but the effect of what he's doing is still the same.
Well, how about a Jewish man who defrauds people of millions of dollars, and it comes out in the news, and people are making fun of him? Who's saying based on this that that's wrong? People shouldn't be making fun of him.
So we'll see. Let's see. We're in the middle of on page 2, the top Rabbeinu Yonah in his parish on the Avos. We're about in the middle of about 4 or 5 lines down. Yeah, the third line down actually. Right? Ki gam bios oyev Russia, even if the enemy is a Russia, right? They smoke with us. Don't rejoice in his evil tidings. I'm guilty. Why? Meaning you only have one right to be joy. You only have one aspect of joy in which you can be joyous about. What is that? Guilty, except
Mipnei Hashem Levado Ritzon Nino Lomar Ki Zeh HaTzadik Lo Yismach B'Mefalas HaRishayim.
Okay.
So because Hashem in his aloneness.
Well, okay, like this, it says, you shall not be happy, that only because of Hashem alone, that this is His will. You only have a right to be happy in the downfall of a Russia, because this is the will of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, which has been fulfilled. That's what you have to be happy with.
You're happy about Hashem.
Right.
You're not happy about the downfall per se.
Right, that downfall per se, the only aspect of happiness that can be applied here is that the will of Hashem has been fulfilled.
Okay, so can you say that about the song at the sea? That basically the Jewish people were rejoicing because they see Hashem's actions that are just and right, and not per se because they're seeing people dying?
Right, you can see that.
Well, what about you saying it every single day? You say every day that Hashem killed them.
Right.
And you're rejoicing over that because you have to say the Simcha.
Sure.
So if you say the Simcha, that means you're rejoicing that they died also.
Right, but because that was the will of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu that they had to die.
Okay, but you have a Simcha that they died.
Fine. Okay, but you're not applying the Simcha, right, because of what happened to them specifically. You're applying the Simcha because the will of Hashem was fulfilled through that. It happened to be that they died, right? But it was the fulfillment of the will of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. That's what we rejoice over.
I see yesterday there was a bomb exploded in a Hamas apartment.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them died and a bunch of them wounded. They don't know what it's from. Okay? So I can't be happy that they died.
Oh, so
They're probably putting bombs together to kill us.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have no idea, but they're playing around with dynamite there. We don't know how many of them go because they're not expert. Even if you're expert with those kind of things, it's dangerous material, and mistakes always happen. So what are we happy about?
I'm happy that they're not alive anymore because I know they're not going to hurt any more Jews.
Oh, so that's the will of Hashem, that there shouldn't be people in the world to hurt Jews.
So if I see them dying every day, I'm happy every day when they're dying. I mean, that's me.
No, but he's making a distinction.
No,
You're happy because you're seeing Hashem's will being performed, not because you're seeing human beings die.
Those human beings are going to kill my people. So yes, I'm happy that they're dying because they're going to kill my people.
Because it's Hashem's will, because you're happy that Hashem is protecting us.
100%. But I'm also happy that they're not around anymore because I know that they're going to hurt less of our people.
Right, but that's not the same as being happy that they died. Being
I
happy
come
that
from
they're
an
not
Arab
around.
country. I come from an Arab country. I'm happy when they die.
the question is why. The question what. So what is Shmuel telling you when Shmuel says so what's he teaching?
I always think there was always talking about a Jewish person.
Well,
I always learned that Nafshi was talking about your enemy, meaning a Jewish person, not a non-Jew. That's the way I was learning it.
Well, it says here, Oyev Russia, right, when it says V'yos Oyev Russia, right, we'll have to try and decide whether that's talking about a Jew or non-Jew, or maybe it doesn't make any difference.
I don't know, that's the way I learned it. That's the way I learned it. I didn't say that that's the way it is. I don't know.
Hold on. Let's try to do another line or so, and then we'll have to stop and switch.
Ach im kivanas.
It's like this. It says Lovato. Kiz lo oimer. Kiz hatzadik right?
He's a tzaddik.
He's a tzaddik. Lo yismach b'mefolas harishonim, right? That this is the tzaddik that he is not happy with the downfall of the rishonim. However,
In kavanas, if is this kavana? The same
yeah,
word as
however,
kavana?
kavana, his intention.
Even if his intention simchaso mipnei she mafalto kavod shamayim. Even if his intention is to be happy because of the falling of the honor of heaven, I don't know, the miflato, what is that?
Right. So it's like this. Ach in kavanas simchasoi mipnei shemefalosoi kavod shamayim. That even that, however, if his kavanah in being joyous is because in the downfall there is honor to shamayim.
In the downfall, got it. Hu lo mipnei she naso
Sinaso.
Sinaso oso, not because of his hatred of him. I don't know what this abbreviation is.
Kol shekin.
Kol shekin mi she ma'asav mikol halin kemohu.
Okay, so
And in any case, who is it that is happy from cursing him?
well, this is calling me not called. It's really corruption. See, like it's this. It's his joy is. Even if it's going to be that his joy is because with his downfall there is honor to Shemayim, right? It's not because he hates him, right? Not because he hates him. It's because there's going to be honor to Shemayim. V'kol shekain mi shemasa tu promoting kamoso, and even more so if his deeds are corrupt like his. Meaning, let's say that person was a corrupt person, and this person also is another corrupt person. So he certainly shouldn't be rejoicing in the downfall of an enemy who was a Russia, because he's no better than him.
That's why I always started talking about a Jew.
Well, so here we're talking. This is the Torah talking about a Jew.
That's what I'm saying. So that this whole concept, I thought, not to be sameach, meant I always thought is another Jew who was down. They shouldn't be happy.
Okay.
But a goy, there was no problem. That's the way I understood it.
I don't know why.
That's the way I understood it.
Very. It could be. We have no up until now. Right. We have no riots one way or the other.
Nope.
This is maybe the first inkling of a proof that maybe we're talking about exclusively about Jews.
Why? What is it about this that tells you it's a Jew?
To tell you the truth, because it's calling Kamosa. That seems that he's equating with the one to the next. That means
if your bad traits are like him?
Yeah, meaning
your bad traits can't be like a non-Jew's bad traits?
No, you don't usually compare it. It's not, they're in different dimensions, different realm. But however you do have the Shibuli Halekit, which brings in the whole question about the Mitzvah at the Yam. And he applies this pasuk, which is from Shlomo Melech and Shmuel Kakin's reinforcement of it. He applies that to the Yam, right? So there you see the Shibuli like this applying it to non-Jews as well. See that there?
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture. I have to go over it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not that smart.
But you can take it to the paper too if you want.
Rod Torah is referring to the person who's rejoicing.
When you back in the Rebbeinu Yonah?
Yes.
Okay, Rod Torah?
That's the last line of the we just read.
Right.
Last word.
V'im yagir, the last, which reading again please, so I just know which one you're referring to.
Rod Torah,
Rabbah, okay. Kamo, v'im yagir liboy Behakshilo Rosso Rabba. Because let's say they're both not great, right? This guy's a Russia and this guy's a Russia. So one Russia's happy about the other guy's downfall, right? Right? It's if he with his joy, right, in the other fellow's downfall, that's Rosso Rabba. It's a tremendous bad thing for him. If this person's a Russia just like the other fellow, it's going to be a tremendously bad thing for him. We'll see. Rabbeinu is going to go into details about that.
Right. And that's why Lot's wife turned salt.
Also, you could explain it that's also part of it. Very good.
So it's looking back and
Right. They had no right to be saved except in the special Bava and Levine. Right? And they had no right to look at the downfall of the other people. They even to look at their downfall, whether they were happy or not. Maybe she was sad. Right, but they didn't have a right to look at their downfall because they really, all rights, they were supposed to be back there as well. So you see, you're not even supposed to, that's another thing, I'll stadil, but definitely so, that could be very basic understanding of what happened to Lot's wife, for sure. Yeah.
So the person who is Rabbah is the one who's rejoicing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And because the Kamahu, we're saying that therefore it's a Gentile we're talking about.
No, it could. It's more of it indicating that it's a Jew here, Kamohu, meaning like him, since they're being equated. It's seemingly they were talking about Jews, right? Yeah.
So a Jew who's either bad like a Gentile, and if a Jew rejoices over that, it's bad for the one who's rejoicing because it's still a Jew.
If he's no better than him, really, right? Let's say you have two people that are not tzaddikim, right? Two Jews that are not tzaddikim, and one stumbles and falls and there's all kinds of bad things happen to him. And the other guy, who's really no better than him, he's laughing about that. He's happy about that. Right? So it's that makes it even worse for him. We'll see. Lama, right? Now we'll have to stop here, but the Rabbeinu is going to now go to Lama. Why should that be?
So just one more question.
Sure.
This kol shechein, is that making a separation between the previous sentence and the following sentence, or is it connecting them? In other words, if the previous sentence was talking about Jews and non-Jews, and this sentence was talking about just Jews, would the kol shechein allow that, or would it deny that?
No, I'm not sure. Tell you the truth, I'm not sure we're talking about non-Jews. Rabbeinu may not be talking about non-Jews. It's not. There's no real indication, yes or not. The only thing is, in this point here, he seems to equate the two, right? So
right.
that
I'm just trying to figure out whether we would say that there's an implication, since they're equated here, that it applies back before this kol shechein.
Well, yeah.
Kol shechein like a break, saying, okay, this is not.
It's a continuation. Okay. Stop for 2 minutes here, and then we'll continue.
Thank you, sir.